Interrupt you and go across to Belly. He's at a location where it's about to rain right now. Belly, thanks for continuing to report. But compared to Assam, of course, Kerala is a state with high human development indicators. Is the mood on the ground still tilted towards the LDF? And do you see Pinarayi taking on another term as a CM, given that he's already 81 of age?
Kriti, the same sentiment is reflecting whenever I speak to the voters here on ground. What majority of them, kind of say that they are happy with the development and they would want this leader to continue as the Chief Minister. Since the LDF has a face, Pinarayi Vijayan, now when you talk to the fans of the UDS or people who are supporting the UDF, they actually don't have a CM face, and it's only the Congress who is campaigning for taking into account the anti-incumbency factor that could have made an effect because
how real is that, the anti-incumbency factor? Is it very pertinent, or would you say the anti-incumbency is rather diffused in Kerala? Because Congress has momentum but not a realistic picture of what it can do, and there are also some missteps that Congress took that could turn out in its disadvantage.
Constituency of Nemam and other constituencies in Thiruvananthapuram, such as the Thiruvananthapuram Central constituency, wherein it is a triangular contest. It is, we are unsure whether which party would come. So Thiruvananthapuram is kind of a decisive place of politics when it comes to the traditional fighting between the LDF and the UDF, and now the NDA's entrant, and in some take for instance the Nemam constituency. It has the LDF is trying to get re-elected from that constituency, but in 2021 the BJP seat was lost and LDF had captured that, and now BJP is trying to reclaim that constituency, and you can see the pulse there. A lot of BJP supporters, they want Nemam to be under their candidate Rajiv Chandrasekhar is what we gather. However, there are heavyweights put by the UDF there, which is Satishan, who is the General Education and Labour Minister here, the incumbent minister here in Kerala, and he is a renowned person here, and he is kind of he has a big fan base here as well. And the third candidate from the UDF is Shabrinathan, who is a young Congress youth leader, and he is 42 years of age, and he also has a big fan base in Nemam constituency. So when you talk about the capital city of Thiruvananthapuram, so this is the indications that we get to hear from the voters on ground, that they are into a triangular contest which is high stakes involved. And when you go to the other parts of the Kerala, that is the other districts, we get to say that there would be a neck-to-neck fight between the LDF and the UDF, and it wouldn't be a landslide victory for any party that comes to power, but it would be a marginal victory is what we gather from political analysts or experts also, Kriti.
All right, Belly, thanks very much. Let's also go on across to Nibir now. Nibir, it's also crucial, this election, given that it's the first one after the delimitation exercise that was considered controversial in bringing down the number of Muslim voters of the state. Do you think that's going to weigh in on voters' minds?
Well, the delimitation was not about the population or the voters. It was the SR exercise. Delimitation was the rearrangement of the constituencies which was done. The number of constituencies still remains to be 126, but due to delimitations, there are certain changes in the geography of a particular constituency. For example, currently we are in Dispur, which is in the heart of Guwahati, but the voting center adjacent to me is for the new Guwahati constituency. So such kind of rearrangements were done, and this was a routine exercise. But yes, there were certain question marks being raised by the opposition when the delimitation happened.
Which in fact said that it redrew the constituencies where Muslims were influential, and that exactly was the controversy around the exercise. Given that these are the first elections after that, what I mean to understand from you is that if voters are also going to weigh in on that factor, and whether BJP naming some Muslims as indigenous is also going to help in its favor?
Well, see, in a Vidhan Sabha elections, which means the election of an MLA candidate, the issues are very micro. Obviously, there is a macro focus of ideology and policy and, communal lines and whether those lines have been blurred or is there a thin line. But the major focus for the people of Assam is to select their own candidate from their own locality or from their own area. And people of Assam have always prioritized election of a candidate as opposed to just merely electing a political party. So the lines are very blurred here. It also depends on the popularity of an individual based on a particular locality. Sometimes people have an allegiance to a political party, but they would rather prefer their local person. So that dynamic is always there. But yes, you are absolutely right that the communal tone at times or the polarizing tone at times have created sharp responses from the opposition and also certain sections of the society who find at times problematic about certain things like the eviction or the anti-encroachment drive. But on the other hand, it also has resonance among a lot of other people in the state wherein they see the threat of demography or the threat of illegal infiltration, which is very pertinent in the state. So these are two different mirror images. One, on the other hand, talks about anti-infiltration, anti-encroachment drive, or the eviction of people who are grazing illegally. And on the other hand, it also talks about human rights issues and also people being evicted out of their houses. So all these images are there. It is for the public to decide, but we should not forget that this is also a very micro elections. The issues are roads, drainage, waterlogging, floods, and these issues are at the core. And the women especially, are also looking into the economic opportunities and also the beneficiary money that they have been given to become more and more independent in today's Assam. Back to you.
All right, Nibir, thanks very much then for joining us. And viewers, that's broadly the situation on the ground like. I also thank Belly for being with me in the discussion here. Viewers, we're yet to get the voter turnout as the votes conclude in Keralam and in Assam and Puducherry. Stay tuned to newsX. We'll be right back.